Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to my podcast or my YouTube channel. I'm your host and guide, Will Caminada, and this is a conversation episode. Today, I had the pleasure to talk to Claire Stone. Claire Stone is a Hay House best-selling author, international psychic reader, and angel intuitive. She's also the founder of Angel Mystery School and psychic development expert of Spirit and Destiny magazine. In this conversation, we talked about her journey with working with the angels, the importance of reclaiming our divine feminine energy, and a few of the female archangels that she's written about in her book, The Female Archangels: Reclaim Your Power with the Lost Teachings of the Divine Feminine. It's really such an important work that Claire is doing for the collective. You're in for a treat. I hope you enjoy the show, and if you do, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment or a review, and share this episode with your friends. Enjoy the show. Hi, Claire. Thank you so much for being here on the podcast.
Hi, Will. Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. I'm so excited to talk to you about angels and female archangels. You're actually the first person I bring here on the podcast to talk about angels. I usually talk a lot about spirit guides, and actually one of your fellow Hay House authors, Yamila Yamunja, was a guest here on my podcast, and that's how I got to know your work. And she talked about 7 different types of spirit guides, one of them being angels. And so I'd love for us to dive deeper into the angel realm today. And just so before we talk about your book and angels, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your spiritual awakening, your spiritual journey. I read your bio on your website, and it says, Claire was born with the ability to see and hear angels. She began offering psychic readings for friends from the age of 14. After overcoming chronic anxiety with the help of the angels, she took a pledge to help others to heal their lives too. That's awesome. I have 2 questions about this. So how and when did the angels first show up in your life? And how exactly did they help you overcome your chronic anxiety?
Okay, so I've always seen angels and spirits, but I was raised by Christian grandparents who were just not into spirituality
Same.
at all. Like, I would experience astral projection and all kinds, and I'd come down and tell them in the morning, oh, I seen you doing this last night, you were watching that. They thought it was evil. They were petrified of my psychic gifts, and they started sending me for even more church lessons. It was a course called The Abundant Life. So for me, it was like I was seeing these angels and spirit guides who were my friends, and then the people raising me were instilling fear within me. So I started to push them away, my spirit guides and angels. And I always seen the angels, but I stopped seeing spirit for a while. But what made it even worse was I could still sense them, but I could no longer see them. Because if you ask a spirit guide, I don't want to see you anymore, they don't want you to be worrying and afraid. They will do what you ask. So I remember being in bed when I was young and turning the light on and looking around because I could sense somebody there, but I couldn't see anyone. So I'd be turning the light on and off. And then both my parents are alcoholics, so childhood was tough. And I developed really bad anxiety and agoraphobia at a young age. And I got to a point where I was around 14 and I'd had enough. You know, when you just like, God, I've had enough. What's the point in life? I was at that point. And I asked for help, and it was kind of like, will anybody help me? Because I was a bit angry with God, to be honest, because I didn't understand spiritual law. I kind of had this Western God is a man on a cloud, but knew that that wasn't the truth. So I had this like confliction within me. And when I was begging one night for help, it was Archangel Ariel that came, and she said that she was going to help me. She gave me a snapshot of the future of me, like actually helping people on stage and all kinds. And I couldn't even get to the corner shop because my agoraphobia was so bad. So to me, that would be like a pure miracle. But because the angels feel just so much love, I trusted this. And I know it sounds totally bizarre, but at this age, I didn't even know what anxiety was. I knew that if I step outside, I feel like I need to vomit and shaking legs, jelly legs. So all the symptoms, but I didn't know what it was. And no like adults did either, because my parents were unwell. And so Ariel started setting tasks for me, what you would probably imagine a therapist would do for you. So for example, she was like, right, get ready today and you're going to go to the bus stop. And the bus stop was literally over the road. And I really didn't want to go, but she was telling me to do it, telling me I could do it. So I did it, and then I'd run back. We'd do that a few times. Then she'd give me another task. And gradually we built up to where I would get on the bus, but I got off at the first stop and ran home until I got all the way into town. Then I would jump into a taxi and come all the way back. And this is how I progressed and got through anxiety and agoraphobia by desensitization, but not through books and prescriptions and doctors. It was through an angel. And this was a total miracle for me, because I was literally planning as a teenager, this is what was in my mind. Right, if I get married and I have kids, then I don't have to go out. My mind was already planning my future, so I could stay at home and not have to go anywhere. But of course, when this miracle occurred, and it took some time, it wasn't overnight, I was cured. But when I was cured, I was so inspired that I studied everything, aromatherapy, massage, all natural healing, so that I knew if I could heal from that, I had so much hope for other people.
Yeah. And when was the moment that you said, yes, I trust this angel that I'm communicating with? Did you always trust, or because you mentioned there was a time that you couldn't see them, but you could still sense, so there was this kind of confusion in your mind? When was it that you went like, yes, I trust this angel and I'm going to do what she's telling me?
I always trusted angels. It was spirit that I became a bit dubious about. And it was actually because all this church stuff, believe it or not, they had me watching horror films, like the Amityville horror. Like, this is really scary stuff when you're a kid. Films of people getting possessed, and they were saying that I was going to end up like that. So obviously I was petrified. And so I never got scared of angels, because angels and spirit, to me, they feel totally different. So spirits, they're like us, they have an ego, a personality. Because I'm not talking about ascended masters, I'm talking about spirit guides. Where angels, they feel different, and I can't help feel just uplifted and like the holiness, that I can't help to trust them because of that love. It feels different. I know spirit guides love us as well, but they feel different. So I'd always seen the angels, but when Ariel came, when she answered my prayer, that was kind of like when I first started developing this relationship with him, because before then I didn't know that you had to ask. It was kind of like, well, I can see you, but there wasn't these conversations until that night when I totally had enough.
I was like building a relationship, like you said, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it went from there.
Yeah. And I loved that you're bringing awareness to having this innate intuition as a child as well. I think children in general, they are just so in touch with the spiritual realm, with angels and spirit guides. But the parents or society or church sort of represses that and almost like you said, like demonizes it, right? So I think it's super important to reinforce that in children, that they're not crazy, right? That it's not bad.
Yeah, it's actually really beautiful.
Yeah. And so you said that the angels for you feel different. So just before we talk about the female archangels, I'd love for you to kind of like educate us a little bit on angels. So how would you define an angel?
Okay. So this is the way I perceive it, and I honor and respect the way that everybody has their own interpretation. The way I see it is there is a creator, a source energy. And the way I like to see it is imagining kind of like a tree, a pillar of light. And from that pillar of light, creation wants to carry on creating. So it makes branches. And then the branches to me are the angels. And then the leaves and the flowers that sprout from the branches are people and plants and all kind of other living. It's just life experiencing life. And I totally believe as well that, I'm perceiving this from a very limited point of view. There's so much that I don't know. And that's why this journey is so exciting to me, because I just want to keep learning. My mind is open, but that is the way I perceive it right now.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, and we all do perceive with our limited 3D perception, right? But I think as we expand our consciousness and we really start digging deep into these topics, we just, I don't know, open our hearts and we connect more and more with the higher realms. Is there a difference between archangels, angels, guardian angels?
Yeah. But I'm just being kind of just step back to your other question, which was, so the archangels are coming from this like source of energy. So this original source of energy, if that's what you want to call it, for lack of a better word. So that's why they're so close to source, creator, God, whatever word you like. So the archangels are really, really close to this original. And the further we sprout off into the branches is us experiencing our personalities. And to some degree, that's when like the veils of amnesia come in, because we forget that we have come from this like thread of divinity, and it's reminding getting our way back there, isn't it? So I just wanted to add that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So the difference between archangels and guardian angels / angels is archangels are omnipresent. So I see them as a big powerhouse of energy, and they can be in any place at any time. So if you call in Archangel Michael, if I call in Archangel Michael, we both get that assistance, because Archangel Michael is an archangel and can be anywhere. Your guardian angel is assigned to you and you alone. So this angel, how I perceive it to be, is before we incarnate, we have a soul's contract. We decide who's going to be our guardian angel, who's going to be our spirit guide. So we all come together and see who's a good fit to help us on our journey, because we all got different journeys. So my guardian angel isn't necessarily going to help you out. However, my guardian angel will communicate with yours. So if there's something that you needed to know, or you were having a reading, then my guardian angel might say, oh, tell him this. Or if I want to pray for you, I might ask my guardian angel, or would you say a prayer for Will under the law of free will, under the law of grace? Would you put this into his mind, if that's okay? So guardian angels are different, and they're just for you. And angels is just, the word for any type of angels. We have helper angels who come in just here and there, who might say, if we were doing a group prayer now, a lot of helper angels will come in, but again, they're not our guardian angels. They don't have that like bond to us, but they come in and help.
I love that. Thanks for explaining. I have a question that I get asked a lot, quite a lot, because I feel mostly connected with, I call them higher dimensional beings. So the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Orions. Some people call them extraterrestrial aliens. And sometimes people ask if they are angels, like are the Pleiadians similar to angels? And like my perception of it is that they're all higher dimensional beings because they are of a higher frequency and they are operating from a higher dimension and a higher level of consciousness. But I don't think it's the same. What do you think? What's your perception?
Well, my perception is that they have their own angels. So like you said about we're on different frequencies. So there's other star beings that are much more highly evolved than us. But I do believe that everybody has their own version of angels, their own helpers, who are really close to that original source energy.
Great. And so your book is called The Female Archangels, Reclaim Your Power with the Lost Teachings of the Divine Feminine. For anyone who's watching, she's showing the book, and it's published by Hay House UK. Congratulations for this achievement. And so I'd love for you to first talk about this idea of female archangels. What does a female archangel mean? Are angels genderless? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Okay, so just to clarify, angels are androgynous. Okay, and the female archangels is, again, it's for lack of a better word, because there's no such thing as boy angels and girl angels. However, I do believe there are masculine energy angels and feminine energy angels. And because on Earth, in my view, we are working on this polarity. That's how even, the hemispheres of the brain, everything is comprised of these polar opposites, including the angels that can help us. Now, the feminine word for archangel is archaea. And if you look back at older angel work, they've all got masculine names. So Michael, Uriel, Raphael, they are all masculine names, and they end in EL, which means God, not goddess. In the West, I call us the motherless society. We've been raised with this patriarchal paradigm that, we're just everything, man in power and all that. And I don't want to go down that pathway, but just to set the foundation that we have been taught to do things in a masculine way. Now there's a positive masculine and there's negative masculine, and there's positive feminine and there's negative feminine. So the way we're taught in schools is to use the masculine brain. So there's competition. We're always striving to get ahead.
Go.
But that is imbalance. And look at the world. The world's in a mess because we've been in this negative masculine. And this is no disrespect to men, because this is a state of being, the way we've been trained. Whereas the feminine is, you're in your feminine energy when you're doing your meditations, when you're doing your channeling, when you're going for a rest, when you're being nurtured or you're nurturing somebody else, your intuition. They're all feminine gifts and qualities. So there's these masculine gifts and qualities and there's feminine. And I believe that if human beings can balance the masculine and the feminine, I think that that is the key to enlightenment. That's how I see the Kundalini journey of energy through the chakras. That's how I understand it to be. So female is a rubbish word, but that is what I mean. But it'd be better if I'd have said feminine on reflection. But I did write this book in 2018. So that's what I mean. There's no such thing as girl and boy, angels. And it's funny because some people have had a problem with, so for example, some of the female archangels, you can address them as Archangel, Archaea, or Lady, so like Lady Mira. And some people think that's weird, but the masculine of a lady is Lord, and people have no problem calling in Lord Michael, but yet it feels so alien to call in a feminine angel. And in the book, what I've done is I've translated the names so that all of the names mean where Michael is he who is like God, Raphael, he whom God heals. Well, why should the female archangels be the light of God, the dawn of the goddess? So give them all that. And it's not to put the goddess above. It's to get that equilibrium, because every single one of us needs that balance to live a harmonious life. Yeah.
I think it's just so important and so necessary right now. And just for the listeners to understand, most of us know that, but we all have feminine energy and masculine energy. That's just the energy of creation, right? The same way that we have an ego and a spirit. And I do think that like now it's the time to bring awareness into the rise of the feminine energy, of the divine feminine, and really uniting. It's like the moment to reconcile, the masculine and the feminine. So why is it now? Why do you think now is the time?
I think that now is the time because we are on, again, this is debatable. Some people say that we have entered the age of Aquarius. I think we're on the cusp of it, and that's fine. Everyone to their own. But this is a prophesized time of enlightenment, of humanity awakening, this great spiritual awakening. All the great people have been talking about it for centuries. And how are we going to do that if we're only half human? We're only using half of our abilities. We need to be whole, our masculine and our feminine. So that's why I feel the feminine is being reinstated now, because that is the key for me for reclaiming your gifts. Because they are feminine gifts. The gift of healing and intuition. So I think that the feminine has been suppressed so that in our past we could be used for those in power to do what they want to do, and we can be these I'm saying half humans, but you know what I mean, like disempowered.
And I agree with you. I think that we're in the age of Aquarius too, and the previous age of Pisces we learned from it, right? We had the age of the teachers and the ascended masters and gurus, but I feel like now, we have to just like reclaim our power back. It's like we have to remember that we are the teachers, we are our own gurus, and nobody's gonna come and save us. And that's why I think it's so important, the work that you're doing, to raise the awareness that we need to embrace both divine feminine and divine masculine. And I also think that sometimes, we've seen a lot of episodes throughout human history where women were suppressed and completely shut down, right? And I know it sounds like maybe like a silly example, but there's this movement with Britney Spears nowadays, the Free Britney. But it is an example. I mean, if we look at it from like a deeper spiritual perspective, it is an example of, she was suppressed. She was, people took her voice out of her and her power, like literally her power, right? And now she's like awakening and she's going, no, I'm gonna reclaim my birthright, my power, right?
Yeah.
Great. So how many female archangels did you write about in your book, and how did they come to you?
I've wrote about 11 angels, but that is only because I only had 60,000 words. There are more angels, and I met each of them in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it would be nice for you to maybe pick one or two and tell us about them. I just, by the way, I've gone to your website and I've taken the quiz. There is a quiz on Claire's website that people can take, and I'll put the link in the description so that you can find out which female archangel can help you in your healing journey. And it's really nice. I got Lady Seraphina, and I read a little bit about her. So it's nice because I think we are seen, right? We feel like, she's my girl, she's helping me. I mean, and I know the angels aren't the girls, but you just kind of start, I guess, build a relationship with them, because that's how we operate anyways. Like, we need names, we need images. And so I thought it would be nice if you could perhaps either just think of one now that you're feeling, or maybe open your book and see which one do you think you want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, now that you've mentioned Seraphina, she is the fire serpent of the goddess. And the seraphim, they are described in the Bible as looking like fire and having loads of different wings. But she is really one of the angels. I'm not surprised that you got her because of what you're into with all the star beings and everything, because she is one of the, what I call the ascension angels. So the way that I've been working it through the book is that there's an angel for each of the chakras, and to me each of the chakras is a part of our ascension journey. Again, going to those kundalini, the snakes. So Seraphina, she is the angel that's bridging in that like really high galactic energy, and she's actually one of the most difficult angels to physically see because she's such high vibrational. Because when we say high vibration, like, we're literally talking about atoms and the speed that they're moving. So that's Seraphina. I'm going to open the book at a page, but also what you just said about how we are like personalizing angels, that is so that our mind can grasp onto them. So it's like in my martial arts class, we the way we were taught our moves, we weren't taught any names at the beginning. We were taught the names of the moves at the end, because our teacher didn't want us to get attached to the names. And it's the same with the angels. Now, a name is different because a name is a vibration. It's the signature of the soul. So, for example, Claire, my name, it means clear. And Stone, my surname, means truth, clear truth. Well, that sums up my entire life. I am searching for the truth of reality. So the vibration of a name. But however, an angel, I've described in this book how angels look to me. But if you see them totally different, then again, we're looking through different lenses, and angels will appear in a perfect way for you. So like not getting too attached to the descriptions. I've put a lot of symbology in there because that's important. The symbols can unlock your own intuition, and the colours, again, that's to do with the frequency. But I do actually see angels as human. That's how I see them, and I see them in two ways: mental mediumship, which is in your mind, and physical mediumship, which is you're there right in front of me. It chops and changes in whatever way.
And I think it's also down to the individual and their clairs, right? Some people hear more than they see, or they feel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a guardian angel challenge at the moment. We're halfway through that, and people are experiencing the guardian angel in so many different ways. Like some people are getting visible things like repetitive numbers, or they're asking for something specific like a blue elephant and getting it back. Other people are hearing songs on the radio, angel songs.
That's me.
I
think it's because I am a singer, I'm a musician. I just like listen to songs. I hear the lyrics, and I'm more of a clairaudient as well. So like I listen to messages and their voices. I can see a little bit, but I think that we all have like a more predominant clair.
Definitely. And that's what I'm trying to get across with my work at the moment as well, is the difference in our abilities, so that it's not just all pushing, because there's a lot of emphasis towards clairvoyance, and if you're not clairvoyant, then you're not doing it right, or you're not, and that's a load of rubbish. We've all got our unique ways, so I'm trying to raise awareness of those other clairs. Let's see.
One question: what is the chakra related to Lady Serafina? Is it the crown chakra?
No, it's the stellar gateway.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The crown chakra is Christine, the follower of Christ. Yeah. So I've just opened the book, and we have got Archangel Haniel, and Haniel's name means grace of the goddess. Now, Haniel is the angel of the moon. A lot of people listening will have heard of Haniel. She is the angel who can help us with lucid dreaming. If you want to activate like certain gifts, or healing certain things, because of course, if you've got insomnia, then you can call in Haniel to help you with that. Like I said, if you want to practice lucid dreaming or astral projection, she's like the high priestess of the tarot. That's how I perceive her, like the wise woman. But she's quiet. She doesn't necessarily like tell you loads of things unless you're asking. And she can really help you to hone in on with your psychic gifts, again, because the moon is the feminine, the sun is the masculine. Well, ancient Egypt had it the other way around, where the sun was feminine. But yeah, so Haniel, so the ways that you could work with this angel is so developing those psychic gifts, working with the moon, understanding the cycles and nature of life. So if you understand how everything is cyclical, even what's going on in your personal life, then you're much more able to relax and surrender when, we're not bearing fruit all year round. She can help you to accept that, because when you understand the cycles, but grace of the goddess. So when we are feeling like life is challenging, or we might be triggered with something, and we want to maintain composed, because sometimes our mind can run away with us. We can get worried about things. There's loads of stuff going on in the world. And it's like she just helps you maintain that state of grace, even if you don't know all the answers, even if you don't know what you're going to do. She can help you stay calm and graceful, and not jump, not do things that you would later regret, or say things that you might regret later.
Excellent. And so how people can work in the book, like what kind of, is there like an exercise that people can do to communicate with them or invoke them? What's the structure?
I'm actually flicking through the book now, and there's quite a few exercises with every angel, because I like people to have an experience. I don't want you to read my work and feel like it's detached from your life. I'm like, right, this is what I done. This is how it worked for me. You go and try that and see what you get out of it. That's how it is. That's the way I teach everybody. I give you a key, and then you use the keys that I use that open doors for me. Because again, it's about empowerment, isn't it? Like you said, it's the time of being your own guru. The word guru means dispeller of darkness. So that is what we are here to do in this lifetime, to dispel our own darkness, not let someone else do it all for us. And that's empowering. Yeah, I've actually got an album with Hay House, and it's called Meditations with the Female Archangels. It's been on offer for a while. It's only £6.50, or that's at half price. And there's a meditation with each of these 11 angels, so that you can really feel their energy for yourself. And then you can just like ask them. I tell everyone, they're like, oh, angels aren't helping me, or blah, blah. And I say, well, have you asked? Because the only reason why I get so much support is because I am always asking. You know, when you see the Facebook post with the guardian angels with the head in the hands, I'm like, that's my guardian angel, because I am always like, what does this mean? What's that? Can you show me this? Should I do that? I'm always asking.
Expressing gratitude as well. I think that's really important, right?
Definitely. And in the olden days, I would leave offerings for angels as a thank you. So I might buy some flowers. I mean, I've got altars everywhere. There's one at the side of my desk here, and I would have, usually the old me would have flowers on there as a thank you to the angels. But what I've since found out, and this is what angels really like now, is how we can show our gratitude to them, because they are selfless, is to help somebody else. So instead of me getting the flowers now, or the chocolate or whatever as an offering, I help somebody else in real life, and you're spreading more love, and the angels love that. Thank you for helping me, angels. Now I'm going to help someone else.
Yeah, and then you made that your work. How amazing is that? I'm curious if you could talk about one more. I'm curious about the angel related to the heart chakra.
Yeah, that is Charity. And her name, so most people have heard of Shamuel. Charity is the feminine, and her name means generosity of the goddess. And she has many, many teachings. So you could work with Charity if you wanted to literally bring more love into your life. If say, for example, you're feeling lonely, or a lot of the times when people first start the spiritual journey, they're not resonating with people anymore, and they seem to like pull apart from friends, and they feel a little bit lonely or isolated. And I had an affirmation, and it was, those who love me will find me. Those who love me will find me. And that was what I was putting out into the universe, so that people who cross my path are people who will love me, and I can love back. The people you want to be vibing with. So she can help you with that, literally manifesting love. But one of the biggest things she works with is self-love, opening the heart, because I feel like for so many, I don't even want to just say women, because I feel like everybody, we've just been suppressed in so many ways, haven't we, with this keep pushing and getting ahead, that we're not taught to look after ourselves and be kind to ourselves. And she is that angel that just pulls it all back, and it's like, right, come on, do something for you, show yourself some love.
Yeah, and that's everyone, like you said. I think it's important to remind our listeners that your work is for everyone and not just for women, right? It's actually super necessary for men, right? to like embrace the divine feminine within. And also something that came up while we were talking is we are aware of ourselves in this body in this lifetime, but I believe, and I think you do too, that we've had different lifetimes, and we've experienced different human experiences, and we might have been one of those women who were repressed, or one of those witches who were burnt, right?
Definitely. And even if you weren't, then you can more or less guarantee that those women are in your ancestral line, and therefore their energy is in your DNA. Mm-hmm. So by you healing that feminine now, I mean, one of the what just came into my mind was boys don't cry. That's young boys and young men being suppressing their feminine and not being allowed to show emotion, because emotion is feminine, which was perceived as a weakness. So again, it's getting rid of all these layers, and this feminine healing, it is for everybody, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I have the list here of the ones you wrote in the book. I'm just curious about one more. It's Lady Mary. Lady Mary is the queen of the angels. So that Mary would be Mary Magdalene?
No. So Mary, this isn't some factual thing that you'll find. This is my personal experience of it. I was told by Mary that she was the guardian angel of Mother Mary. So she is connected to the Marys. So Mary Magdalene, the Isis lineage, it's the same lineage, the Sisterhood of the Rose. So that's Mary, Queen of England.
That makes a lot of sense, because when I read it at first, I thought, well, for the Catholic Church, Mary Magdalene is actually a saint.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, is she also an angel? So there is it's like the same lineage, like you said, but
yeah. So the Marys are what I would call, and you probably do too, ascended masters.
Yeah.
Where Mary is an archangel.
Love that. Thank you.
And I mentioned that in the book as well, because that can be confusing, because there's so many Marys.
Yeah.
But Mary means Ma, which means mother.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating information, and I'm sure there's so much more in your book. And thank you for sharing. I have a few final questions that I call them fun and deep questions. So I'll just ask a question and you can just say whatever comes to your mind. So just use your intuition. I know you do. Right. So the first one is, what is your definition of healing?
Healing is, to me, it's tapping into your soul, to your higher self, and knowing how you can make your path more harmonious and aligning with it.
I feel that. Yeah. Imagine you could invite only one of the female archangels to a podcast interview. Which one would you choose and why?
Oh, no. I think it would definitely have to be Serafina, because I feel like she knows loads more stuff what I don't know yet. So I feel like I've got much closer, like I'm friends with most of the other angels, but I feel like she's up another level, if that makes sense. So it would have to be her, so she could unravel more secrets of the universe.
I love that. And I'm going to listen to that one for sure. Right. The next one is also a hypothetical question. Imagine that all the books in the world were going to be destroyed and deleted forever, including yours. If you had to save only one book, which one would you save and why? You can save yours.
Oh, do you know what? I am a book lover, so this is the most difficult question that you have asked
No.
yet. One of my favourite books that has popped in straight away is The Four Agreements. I really, really like that book, and I don't know why I'm choosing it, but that is what jumped into my head. I've read it over and over again. Oh no, I'm getting another book. I'm cheating. Okay. Am I allowed to say it?
Yes.
My all-time favourite book is The Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu. That is like I listened to it on audio mainly, but that is something that I've been going back to. When I first read it, I didn't understand it at all. I was probably 16 when I first read it, but for some reason I kept going back and going back and going back. Yeah, that is the book. That is the book. But somebody listening must need to read The Four Agreements, because it just jumped in my face.
Yeah, and I think both books are those kind of books, like you said, like you read again and again, and you get more every time you read it. Yeah. I think like The Four Agreements, they're so simple, like to understand, but like challenging to apply in our day-to-day life. Yeah. And with the Tao Te Ching book as well, the Lao Tzu book, I think it's just one of those books that you can read on and on and on for the rest of your life, and every time you read it you just learn something else.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. That and it explains a lot of things as well, you know, a lot of like mysteries. Great, I love that. What is the one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you something fun. I was in the Guinness Book of Records when I was a kid, because wow. I found the smallest banana in the world.
That is so cool.
And I've never told anybody this in an interview before.
That's amazing. Do you have a picture of that?
I don't, unfortunately, but I bet I can find it on the internet or something. But
that's amazing.
For some reason, someone who we knew worked at the local paper, and they come and took a photograph, and it got put in the paper, and then it went from there. I think it was just over 2 centimeters.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And when I seen it in the supermarket, because I was so young, I thought of Barbie dolls and thought, a Barbie banana, I've got a banana. So that, and I actually pickled it in some white vinegar, kept it for years.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice. That's definitely surprising. Let's suppose that we signed contracts before coming to this life. I think you kind of believe in that. And then we choose what we came here to learn as well as to teach. What do you think this would be for you in this lifetime?
I just think that I'm here to remember who I am, to reclaim everything that's been taken away from me, and then to show others to do the same.
Love it. And lastly, there's also a hypothetical question. It's called 3 truths. So imagine that years from now, when you're going to make the transition from this human experience into this spiritual realms, everything that you've created has been deleted. You have a piece of paper in front of you, and you can write 3 truths, and this is going to be kind of like your legacy, so that other people will read it and will learn from you. What would be your 3 truths that you would leave here on earth?
What people have learned, what people will have learned.
Yeah, they would read it from you. So what have you learned in this experience, and what would be your 3 truths? Your 3 truths.
Okay, well, the first one would have to be truth. I've got a massive affinity with Pallas Athena, and like the sword of truth and Archangel Michael and the throat chakra and all of that. So the first one would be searching on this quest, your own holy grail. That would be one.
Mm-hmm.
The second one has got to be self-love.
Yes.
Because it's easy to brush over it, but if you look at it very deeply, like how many times we make a mistake and we beat ourselves up, and so self-love is a massive journey in itself. So that, is a constant. I think that's something that you need to constantly keep your eye on, because as well, it's because we are fragmented. Our souls are fragmented from our true nature. And so this is an example from me. So because I was more massively in my feminine, and my masculine wasn't as powerful. So my lessons have been things like having strong boundaries. And I used to find that really difficult, saying no, because my feminine was in its negative. I'll help you. I'll do it. I'm running on fumes, but just give it to me. I had no masculine power. So that's been my deficit. And it's lack of self-love that does that. That's what I believe. So the more we can love ourselves, the more you can piece your soul back together.
Yeah.
And then I think finally, the final truth would be to give it all away. I've done it. Here, you have it.
Yeah.
Selfless. It's not about me. It's we.
Yeah. It's unity consciousness.
Yeah.
I love that. Love it. And just before we log off, I'd love for you to talk about how people can work with you. What are your offerings?
Okay, so I have got a school called the Angel Mystery School. And I do loads of different courses, angel communication. I've got a membership. It's the Angel Mystery School Members Club, where we meet. We do an online ritual every month. You get lessons and meditations. I'm starting to do some in-person stuff again now. That's so exciting. I do readings, but I'll be honest with you, I am fully booked like next year as well. So I do have a waiting list. If people want to wait for a reading, that's okay. You can check out my website, which is just clairestone.co.uk. That's also my Facebook is Clairestone, my Instagram, Clairestone444.
Excellent. And I'll put all the links in the show's notes. And for anyone wanting to learn more about angels, developing their psychic abilities, right? Claire is the one to go to. Claire, I want to acknowledge you for your commitment to working with the angels and with the spiritual realm, and for spreading the awareness of how important it is to unite the divine feminine with the divine masculine. So thank you so much for sharing your work and for shining your light.
Thank you so much for having me, and your questions have been the best.
Thank you. That was fun too. Much love to you.
Lots of love. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you would like to learn more about Claire's work, visit her website www.clairestone.co.uk. And you can also find her book, The Female Archangels, on Amazon all over the world. As usual, you can find links on the show's notes. And once again, if this has brought you value, please subscribe to my podcast or my YouTube channel. Take a screenshot of it, share it to your Instagram story, and be sure to tag me and Claire so that we know it's brought you value and your friends might benefit from this episode too. As always, keep shining your light, keep your heart open, and let love lead the way. I love you. See you in the next episode.